The hidden stories behind some of the most crucial events in Native American history. This video explores one of America's most legendary battles, Custer's Last Stand. You've seen the movies and studied the tales, but do you know what really happened? On June 25, 1876, General George Armstrong Custer marched his 7th Cavalry into what he believed would be an easy triumph over the Lakota, Sioux and northern Cheyenne. Yet the reality, as recounted by one of Custer's own scouts, uncovers the hidden truths of the clash that changed Native American history forever. What if the stories you've heard about this battle are completely mistaken? Stay with us as we reveal the first-hand accounts from those who saw it unfold. The Battle of Little Bighorn, often called Custer's Last Stand, has sparked controversy for generations. On one side stood General Custer, a bold but reckless officer driven by pride and ambition. On the other, a united force of Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho fighters, led by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, fighting to protect their people, their territory, and their traditions. Custer's troops, numbering over 600, advanced toward what they thought was an undefended village near the Little Bighorn River. But they had no idea they were stepping into a carefully laid ambush. By day's end, Custer and all 210 of his soldiers were dead, and the myth of his last stand was born. So what really went down that day? And why did Custer's strategy fail so disastrously? The answers come from a scout who was there, watching the battle unfold in real time. One of the most forgotten figures in the Battle of Little Bighorn was George B. Herondine, an experienced scout for Custer's 7th Cavalry. Herondine wasn't just a bystander, he was deeply involved in the events leading up to the fight. His long-suppressed testimony exposes the critical errors and reckless choices that doomed Custer. Recently rediscovered, Herondine's report contradicts the official version of events. Through his words, we see the arrogance, flawed tactics, and outright dismissal of scout warnings that led to one of the U.S. military's most devastating losses. Let's examine the startling revelations from George B. Herondine's testimony. Herondine and fellow scouts had warned Custer about the enormous size of the native encampment well before the attack. But Custer brushed off their concerns, underestimating both the warriors' numbers and their skill. The scouts counted over 2,000 Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho fighters, far more than Custer expected. Ignoring his scouts' advice, Custer made the fatal choice to split his regiment into 3 groups. His plan was to surround the village, but dividing his forces left them exposed and unable to support one another. Herondine's account makes it clear, this decision marked the start of the disaster, as Custer's men were too spread out to mount an effective defense. Herondine's report also reveals the lack of real strategy in Custer's assault. Custer banked on speed and surprise, but as Herondine noted, the village was too vast and too ready for any chance of a swift win. The native warriors reacted with unmatched speed and resolve, crushing the fragmented cavalry before they could recover. One of the most striking details from the scouts' report is the courage of the Lakota and Cheyenne fighters. Often painted as the villains in mainstream retellings, these warriors were protecting their homes and loved ones. Herondine emphasizes their tactical genius and their use of advanced weaponry, which outmatched what most of Custer's troops carried. These men fought not only with bravery but with expertise, a fact history has often ignored. For too long, the Native American side of the Battle of Little Bighorn has been silenced, twisted, or erased entirely. While Herondine's account provides a crucial outside perspective, the native voices are just as vital, if not more so. Stories from warriors like Crazy Horse and Gull tell the battle from the defenders' viewpoint, those who resisted the U.S. Army's invasion. The Lakota, northern Cheyenne, and Arapaho weren't just battling soldiers, they were fighting for their existence. They stood for their heritage, their freedom, and their sacred land. Recognizing these narratives brings us closer to the full truth of this historic moment. The Battle of Little Bighorn was a turning point in the Indian Wars, where native warriors secured a decisive victory against the U.S. Army. But the aftermath saw the U.S. government intensify its efforts to force tribes onto reservations. Herondine's testimony, alongside native accounts, helps us piece together what truly occurred. They prove that history is never one-dimensional. There's wisdom in every perspective, and by listening, we gain a richer, more honest understanding of the past. Custer's Last Stand has fascinated audiences for years, but now, with records like Herondines, we can finally distinguish truth from legend. Reality is often more intricate, and more gripping, than the myths. As we keep uncovering these untold stories, remember to honor every voice and pay respect to those who lived through these pivotal moments. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Tune in next time on History Central Empire, where we'll keep revealing the buried truths of Native American history. Let's ensure these stories are never forgotten. That's the real story of the Battle of Little Bighorn, told by those who witnessed it. Stay with us for more history that shatters the myths. See you in the next episode.